Still in the Denver, Colorado area. This is my last full day here. Gonna miss Colorado because I really enjoy the non-humidity. It's great to be outside when there's no humidity, and great to be in the mountains, going hiking and walking, and I just thoroughly enjoy every time I come to Colorado. Last year I was here for a whole month in June, and this time I was here for about 8 days, I think, 8 or 9 days. So really enjoyed myself. I'm actually in Lone Tree, which is just south of Denver. And yesterday I got to enjoy driving to the Garden of the Gods, which is in Colorado Springs. These giant pointed, jagged, red rocks that come up from out of the ground, and it's just amazing to look at them, and you can hike around them, walk around them, and climb up on them. And then went to Pikes Peak, and it was the biggest, slowest line I've ever seen. And when I got to the gate to pay to drive up to the top of Pikes Peak, the guy told he would we would have to wait about top of Pikes Peak. You can drive up, and they actually the welcome center at the very top, which is at Maine, which is at the very top of Pikes Peak, which is 1,115 feet. And the last time I went there, I only went to mile 16. It was windy. It was like 35 to 40, and temperatures were like around 35, I think. So it felt very cold, and I was wearing shorts because it was like 80 degrees, Colorado Springs, and I guess I did not do my homework well enough to find out that it was freezing cold. Well, this time it was a beautiful day, sunny day, just maybe 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. It was very perfect conditions, and just a couple of white clouds everywhere. It was just a wonderful day. And so I went to mile 16, and then drove away. Right after I passed mile 16, there was a mountain goat horns that was and then as I drove on toward the top of Pikes Peak, then I noticed that there was a mountain goat right in the middle of the road. I got to drive right past it, took a video of it. You can get on my personal Facebook page, and I posted that this morning. So check it out. Anyway, it was just a beautiful drive up. And for those of you that have driven up there, when you come down, you have to be careful that your brakes can get too hot, and they actually take the temperature of your brakes. And actually I got new rotors because I needed to. The temperature of the brake pads was a little bit higher than normal, having to park for about, I don't know, 25 minutes and drive the rest of the way down. But it's a remarkable drive. I mean, the temperature up at the top, 58 degrees, which is warmer than probably normal, and it was around 88 degrees down at the bottom. So anyway, also got to ride in a Tesla for the second time. That was very cool. For those of you that have never ridden in a Tesla, Teslas can go 0 to 60 in, you know, under 3 seconds, something like that. It's just incredible. So I had fun with a friend that owned the Tesla. All right, Breakthrough Tour 2021. This Saturday, Omaha, Nebraska, at the Empowered Family Church, meeting at 6 p.m. Again, this Saturday, it is Pastor Reimer and his wife that are hosting me there at the church. And then the next Saturday, July 31st, Fort Atkinson, Iowa, and then August 1st, Sunday morning at Decorah, Iowa, at the Christian Life. August 7th, Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Minneapolis Marriott West. That's a Saturday night, 7 p.m. start time. And then August 12th, Chicago, Marriott Naperville. Had another person sign up today for that. So seeing great numbers for the Chicago breakthrough event. And then 25th, Greenville, South Carolina, Faith Family Church. And then November 5th and 6th in Waco, Texas, again, planning to come to Holiday uh, in October. So hopefully we're adding some more. And again, for those that follow my understanding, largely torment people thoughts in mind when they get a lot of negative thoughts. Fear is one of the big thoughts of the demon. Again, not all of our thoughts, in fact, most of our thoughts are come from the demonic spirits, reminding you of what bad things have been done to you, causing, again, understanding 85% of what you worry about and fear never happens. So that's demonic. So dismiss those thoughts. And even if it was 10% of the 15% of the fear pass, the person learned something from it or did not turn out as bad as they thought. So 97% of what you worry about is ridiculous. Throw it out. Don't worry about nothing ever. But that's what demons do. We'll give you negative thoughts. 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day is what the National Science Foundation said in a study that they did in 2000. And again, 80% of the thoughts are negative, 95% the same thoughts the day before. That's what demons do. So demons affect humans through they get angry, they get bitter, get jealous, they do sexual impure things, treat people either or they control them. You can control a person again through what you say, but you can also control a person through what you don't say. If you don't, say anything to them, there's passive aggressive behavior. There's all kinds of way that you can control people, but that's demonic. People that are healed and delivered don't do those. Get depressed, that's demonic. People that would be called bipolar, it's demonic. DID is demonic. Suicidal thoughts. You get delivered, then we have testimonies from people when they get healed and delivered, they forgive people that hurt them, humble themselves from pride. They don't have those negative thoughts anymore, or at least they can take the thoughts captive. Because if you dwell on a whole sentence, woe is me, and it could be circumstantial. I understand that. I've gone through things myself where substantially things are want them to be, and that you don't have peace, but you have to overcome those circumstances. You have to speak positive, negative, and have legal rights. Legal right is something that can give demons an opportunity to harass us, or gives them the right to remain even when we try to cast them out. So again, I do sessions all the time, helping them get set free and delivered. And some of the biggest ways that people have legal rights against a person is through unforgiveness of what people do to them, to hurt them when they grew up. It could be their dad, their sister, their brother, their pastor, their teachers, all kinds of wounds allow demons to torment us if we don't know. So, but other ways is things that we do. Again, oftentimes we get hurt, we get wounded, we're sinning because of that, having demonic spirits in our thoughts, and we get used to it. So when we commit sin, it gives the enemy a legal right to affect or bind in one way or another. The deeper, the bigger the door that is open to the devil. When a person allows unholy thoughts to enter their mind, it can open the door to of lust, which eventually causes them to commit oftentimes sexual things they shouldn't be doing, having sex they're not married to. And then the matter's compounded. It starts, though, when they tempts us to think the wrong thing. Then when we accept it and make it a habit, it enemy to move in further. Then behind the bad habit, which can be formed, compulsion that is not easily. If the person continues down this path, they continue to open up more doors to the enemy, and eventually that person finds themselves, committing adultery, rape, masturbation, compulsory, all kinds of sexual things, because the feelings and the desires the demons push the person are irresistible. Commit those things, mega doors where they know, and the problem is like a snowball going down the hill. Sin opens the which push us in the direction to more sin, which opens up wider sin. So when I help a person get healed and delivered from their past, take them back to the first time. Let's say that they have struggled with purity. It's going to go back to when they were young. When's the first time that someone showed you some pornography, or when someone touched you? All the time I hear that. It's very rare not that's been shown things or talked to kids in school, sleepovers that you have, that looks at pornography. Now that they're accessible on phones and so forth, impossible to keep it from being exposed to it. Really, really, really hard. So what I do is I take a person back to the time that it happened, and they always remember the first time. It's like with clarity and detail. They remember that happened. And so what I do is I see demonic spirits from their, which is their mind, will, and emotions, and then I ask Jesus to come to see from his perspective about what happened. And the Lord will always tell them that they were an innocent victim, that they were a child. It happens when there could be under the age of 12 or 13 is majority the first time that a person gets exposed to sexual stuff. And then what happens is the enemy, especially if they come into the church, because they know they're not supposed to do that thing, and then they end up struggling with it. So anyway, the Lord tells them that they were an innocent, and he does forgive them for what they did and for it. And then we can command the to go that attached to that. And then they don't have those desires anymore. They're gone. It's really impossible to have willpower to stop it. Getting thoughts, and you keep getting the feelings back to you by those demonic spirits. So it's amazing, the doors that we have that often Christians want to stop doing. They want to stop the sinning part because they know it opens up the doors to legal rights for demons to torment them. Get angry and bitter, hateful. There's lots of different ways that demons have legal rights through. Some of the most common legal rights that are faced when ministering deliverance, which are, these are some of the things that I have discovered over the last 5 I've done ministry. Deliverance is being, to a parent that didn't want us. At the very beginning, when you're in the womb, you can be hurt. You can feel rejection. If a boy instead of a girl instead of a boy. If you were born in a premature way, then oftentimes fear comes up. If you were born in a extra scary way, that the doctor tells your mom that, hey, we might lose the baby. We're going to have to do a C-section, or it's going to be delivered prematurely. Then there's no bonding, and that child normally seeks and needs a relationship with someone all the time because they feel so insecure and scared and fearful. Other things that allow demons legal rights are unforgiveness. That's one of the biggest ones, unforgiveness towards people who hurt us. Billy Graham once said that 75% of the people in the hospitals would not be there if they would just forgive, truly forgive. And that's what we do in our ministries. We take people back to what are the worst things that have ever happened to you? Well, my mom over and over again hurt me. My dad over and over again hurt me. And so what we do is we go back to that time and we have Jesus come and speak to them about their dad or their mom. And then the Lord shows them that they were also hurt when they grew up and they were hearing demons. And that's why they treated you so badly. And then they can forgive, truly forgive, and then command the demons to go that attach to it. Another big pride is another big blocker from getting us freed and from allowing, giving the demons legal rights is pride. There's lots of prideful people. You think of the Pharisees and the scribes. They were very prideful. And so that can be a hard thing to humble ourselves because oftentimes you cannot see it. The demons will block you so much and say that you're just so good, you're so righteous, so godly, when you're not. And then you end up hurting people that love you. And then you end up blaming them when they don't like to be hurt anymore. So, pride is a big one. And pride can take a person a long time to get over, to get healed and delivered from that. They have to humble themselves. Oftentimes the Lord may take you through a humbling process. It's not fun, where you lose everything. And then he gets your attention. You think about Naaman. Naaman had leprosy. He wanted to be healed from it. So many of us have sickness and diseases, and we want to be healed from it. But But if you've got pride, pride will block you from getting healed. You know, the Lord can't heal you when you've got pride stopping it. Why would he heal you? You know, that can keep you from being saved and going to heaven. You know, you'd be better off wanting to pursue humbling yourself before the Lord. And then, once you've humbled yourself, then guess what? The Lord will heal you. He wants to heal you. All right, let me go on. Of course, sin, willful sin, we talked about that. You know, if we choose to, and oftentimes, I'll say this, addictions is like we're making an idol before the Lord. Addictions could be smoking, could be vaping, could be alcohol, could be sex, drugs, secular music, social media. You know, think about how many hours a day do you look at social media versus spending time with the Lord or reading the Word, praying in tongues. You know, oftentimes if we make an idol before the Lord of anything, then that can cause us to struggle and not be completely freed. You know, we need to spend time with the Lord. We need to be praying in tongues and reading the Word and getting that into us. You know, listening more to godly music than you do secular music. Not watching movies that have cuss words in them, nudity in them, that just have a lot of violence and evil in it. We don't, you know, again, if you watch things like that, and oftentimes it can come back to you in your dreams. You can struggle, you can have fear, you can give legal rights to the demons. Other things, if we allow a person in our life who is largely demonic, which you have a good chance of that since most people need deliverance, but if you have a close friend and they start to speak negative words to you, or have negative behavior, or they end up ultimately cursing you, condemning you, and they're, say, a mentor or a parent, a spouse, or a boss, you will be affected by the demonic spirits in them. Why? Because all it takes is a negative word, a curse word. You're saying you are worthless, you know, you hate the Lord, and you need to do this, do that. I mean, they could be religious people that are very wicked, and then ends up hurting you. You end up feeling negative. You have negative thoughts in your mind all the time. And it can cause you to feel depressed. It can cause you to feel suicidal. So you need to get away from people who are toxic, who are not of the Lord. You know, witches can curse you due to legal rights through points of contact that they have with you. If you have, I remember there were some people that are in my ministry that had been requested to become a friend with a witch, and they accepted. They didn't know, and then they ended up starting to get cursed, and they felt it, so they had to block them on social media, and then they got healed from those. But oftentimes witches will want to give you jewelry, want to become a friend with you. Could be just on social media, could be a friend in person, give you clothing, give you books. So you have to ask the Lord, show me, is this person got negative, evil intentions? Because when they give you things and you take them, that gives them legal rights to come against you and curse you. They can also astral project and listen into your conversations, and then they can act like they heard from the Lord and the Holy Spirit. So it's very hard to discern the witches of today. They're just not wearing black and having a cauldron and having a wart on their nose. They can look attractive, you know, but if you spend enough time with them, you'll start to discern some weirdness, some things in your spirit that don't feel comfortable to you. Other things. And then addictions. I talked about the addictions: smoking, vaping, alcohol, sex, drugs, secular music, social media. Addictions, that's like you're making an idol before the Lord. And if you make anything more of a priority than the Lord in your life, then that's got legal rights, the demonic spirits in them. You can repent for that. You know, let's say that you're I know a lot of times, I don't know what the average is time on social media. It's interesting because the Lord, I spend less time today on social media than I have ever, and the Lord basically allowed some circumstances to occur, and it gives me a lot more freedom. Put it that way. You know, when I go on to social media, it's for a short time, and then I'm off of it. You know, I don't have it on my phone, so I do not have the temptation to look at it every so many minutes or for hours or whatever. So, you know, we need to make sure that we're spending time reading the Word, praying in tongues, and being close to the Lord. All right, to take away demons' legal rights. How do we do that? You know, that's the whole purpose, is how to take away the demon's legal rights. Well, the biggest thing is forgiveness. If you don't forgive people who have hurt you, who have lied about you, who have said things that are not true, you know, some of the biggest pain points are those who call themselves Christians, that are in the church, but say things and do things to you that hurt you deeply. To forgive them. You know, oftentimes if you still see them too. You know, another one, of course, would be your spouse or your ex-spouse, and the things that they said, because they oftentimes know your vulnerabilities, know your struggles, and then they can bring it back up and speak it out to you and hurt you. Your parents, your mom or your dad, can be one of your biggest source of pain points that you have to forgive. So anyway, we have to forgive. And again, if you have a hard time and a struggle doing that, ask the Lord to show you from his perspective, and then listen, or he'll show you a vision, and you'll see that your mom and your dad, whoever it was that hurt you deeply, they were also hurt. They were hurt deeply. So we need to forgive. Give them to the Lord. Other things we need to do, of course, is humble ourselves from pride. Pride gives legal rights to the demons. You know, Lucifer got kicked out of heaven. I believe pride will keep many, many, many people out of heaven if they've got a pride issue. So we need to humble ourselves before the Lord. Ask the Lord, say, Lord, humble me, whatever it takes, because you do not want to lose out on going to heaven because of your pride. And there's a lot of prideful people in the church. So that is a big one. And then, of course, repenting for your sin, and then stop pursuing the sin. You know, again, it's much easier when you get healed and delivered. You don't desire anymore to pursue sin. That's a good thing. But those that struggle, oftentimes getting those thoughts coming in from the demonic spirits. You know, and then when you get delivered, and again, it may take you months, it may take you a year or longer. When you get delivered, then you desire to be more godly and have fruit of the Spirit. You don't desire to sin. You don't desire to pursue things that are not good for you. So Galatians 5:16-26 says, I say then, walk in the Spirit, you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness. So that includes pornography and masturbation. If you're doing anything sexually, there's a lot of people in the church that are doing a lot of impure, ungodly things. The Lord sees it, the Lord knows it. That gives legal rights to the demons. Let me go on. Idolatry. Idolatry, again, we talked about idols. Those are like addictions, things that you put before the Lord. Could be money, could be your job, could be your spouse, could be addictions to sex, addictions to smoking, vaping, all kinds of things. Sorcery is the next one. Sorcery at the core is trying to control another person, make them do what you want. You know, witchcraft, astral projection. Hatred is another one. If you hate people, you know, real Christians don't hate anyone. They forgive. They give them to the Lord. Doesn't mean that they're going to allow them to be their best friend anymore if they've crossed the line. And then contentions. Contentions is striving and fighting and arguing, bickering. It's ridiculous. The servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle in all their ways. 2 Timothy 2:23-24. All right, next. Jealousies. Are you jealous of people? If you've got a jealousy issue, then that is a fruit of the flesh. And oftentimes people that are jealous, they feel it inside because the demons have got them so strongly entrenched. So if a person is having just a normal conversation with another person from the opposite sex, then they get jealous. And it's their issue. It's not the person that's reacting normally to other people. And that's the problem, is that there are a lot of people that are behaving the way that they should, and then they have a spouse that gets super duper jealous. And that's not healthy. They need to get healed and delivered, and they won't be jealous anymore. All right, next, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, envy, murders, drunkenness, partying, revelries. and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in times past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. So there's a lot of people that practice those things regularly. I think it's 70% of pastors that struggle with pornography. That's a lot. And if they're regularly allowing pornography into their life, then that will normally lead to strife and fighting and arguing with their spouse and children and so forth. And it says that they're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. You know, there have been people that have been taken to heaven and taken to hell. And then they've seen a lot of religious people that are in hell, and they wouldn't have believed it. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I would see Pastor Jones there. And they were. All right, but the fruit of the Spirit. So when you're healed and delivered, you've forgiven people, taken away legal rights of the demons, you've humbled yourself from the pride. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, which is patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such, there's no law. And those who are Christ have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, which is prideful, provoking one another and envying one another. So when you're healed and you're delivered, you have the fruit of the Spirit. I'm not talking about works. You know, works normally come out of that, good works that we do. But there's a lot of people that do good works that are not healed and delivered, not saved. They're not on their way to heaven. They do that to cover themselves, to make themselves look good. They may give a lot of tithes to the pastors in that church so that they can actually, you know, have a primo seat and have a say in the way that the church handles certain matters. And then the church and the pastor thinks that they're good, while they may be treating their spouse and their kids badly behind closed doors. So don't be fooled by the good works. Don't be fooled, because the Lord looks upon the heart, looks upon the mind, and He looks for the fruit of the Spirit. Alrighty, so that's how you take away demons' legal rights. And again, this Saturday, I will be in Omaha, Nebraska at the Empowered Family Church at 6 p.m. So come on out and we'll see you. All right. Love you guys and see you later.